Okay, let's unpack this. I want you to just, close your eyes for a second. Imagine a scenario. It's not a fun one, but stay with me here. You're traveling. Maybe you're on a really high-stakes work trip, or maybe you're a student who's just moved to a completely new city to study. Let's say you're in a bustling industrial town like Batty, or maybe, I don't know, up in the hills near a hospital and so on. The point is, the environment is unfamiliar, the street signs are different, the smells are different, but that is not the main problem right now.
No, the problem is much, much closer to home.
Exactly. The problem is inside you. Your head is throbbing with a rhythm that, it literally matches your heartbeat. Your throat feels like you just swallowed a handful of dry sand. You're in genuine physical pain. And in that moment, all the excitement of being in a new place it vanishes.
It does. The world shrinks very, very quickly when you're in pain. It shrinks down to you and your body.
So you walk into a local clinic, the fluorescent lights are humming, or maybe you're just lying in bed pulling up an app like Practo to video chat with a digital doctor because you really can't even bring yourself to move. And suddenly you realize the barrier isn't just the pain. It's not just the fever. It's the language. You know you need help. You know exactly what you're feeling. And you suddenly realize you don't have the specific words to get the help you need.
And that is a moment of extreme vulnerability. I think we often underestimate this. When we're sick, we naturally regress a little bit. We kind of become childlike.
Yeah.
We want comfort. We want understanding. And most importantly, we want a solution. We want immediate relief. But if you cannot articulate what is happening inside your body, well, that solution gets delayed.
And that delay causes panic. It just turns what could be a manageable situation into a terrifying one.
Absolutely. It's a high-stakes situation where your vocabulary, your actual words, directly impact your physical well-being.
So that feeling of helplessness, that is exactly what we are tackling today. We're looking at a really pivotal moment in a language learner's journey. We are doing a deep dive into day 16 of the course material, which is titled English for Health and Expressing Physical Symptoms. We're going to unpack the toolkit you need to get the right treatment and to get it faster.
And day 16 is such a fascinating milestone if you look at the structure of this learning journey. It represents a massive psychological shift. I mean, think about where the learner has been for the last 2 weeks.
It's been pretty sunny, hasn't it? It's been very welcome to the neighborhood.
It really has. They've spent 15 days building a foundation. They've done the greetings, hello, how are you? They can describe their family. This is my brother, he's tall. They can navigate a street, asking for the library or the bank. They can even use adjectives to say, I am happy or I am excited. It's all been about connection. It's been about presenting your best self to the world.
Right. It's what I sometimes call cocktail party English. It's the polite stuff you use to make a good impression.
In a way, yes. But the source material, and this is led by the instructor Jays, it notes a very distinct shift here. We are moving from casual conversation into what I like to call survival mode. This isn't about making friends at a party anymore. This isn't about being charming. This is about advocacy. This is, about survival.
I noticed that shift in the tone of the source text immediately. Jays actually starts the lesson with this instruction. Stop scrolling. Take a slow breath.
Yeah.
It's almost like they know this topic itself triggers anxiety.
Because health is personal. It is messy. And for a learner, the stakes are just so much higher. I mean, if you mess up ordering a coffee, you get a cappuccino instead of a latte. You might be annoyed, but you drink it and life goes on. If you mess up describing your symptoms to a doctor, you might get the wrong medicine. Or at the very least, you spend another 3 hours in pain because the doctor has to run all these tests to figure out what you couldn't say.
So our mission today is to dismantle that panic. We're going to build this toolkit from the ground up. We need to look at the anatomy of language literally. The course breaks this down so logically. Naming the parts, describing the pain associated with them, and then building the sentences that connect it all.
It's a diagnostic approach, really. We're going to learn to think like a doctor, but speak like a patient.
Okay, let's unpack the toolkit then. We have to be able to point to where it hurts, but, verbally, let's start at the top. The head and face.
Which is logical. That's where we communicate from. It's where our primary senses are. And honestly, that's where we so often feel the first signs of illness.
The first word is the obvious one, head, phonetically head. But I want to look at the context the source gives, because it's not just teaching you this is a head. The source wants us to use it in a sentence immediately.
Right, it's not a flashcard. The example is, my head hurts after studying for hours.
Which, I have to say, I think we can all relate to right now.
The classic tension headache. It's a very specific type of pain. It's that band of pressure. But look at the next word in the list. We move from the general head to the very specific forehead, thosia. Now, why do you think the course separates those two immediately? Why not just stick with head?
Well, the example sentence gives it away, doesn't it? I have a fever. My forehead feels hot.
Exactly. It's
What?
the hand-on-head diagnostic test. Think about it. When you were a child, what did your mother do when you said you felt sick? She put her hand on your forehead.
Every single time. It's a universal gesture.
It is. So if you tell a doctor my head is hot, they might think you're confused, or maybe you've been standing in the sun, or you're talking about the room temperature. It's a bit vague. But if you say my forehead is hot or my forehead feels burning, you are explicitly signaling a fever. You are basically doing the work of the thermometer before the tool even touches you. You are directing their attention to a very specific diagnostic zone.
It's all about specificity. It just speeds up the entire process. Okay, so moving to the sensory organs. The eyes. Okay, the source gives us a specific symptom here, and what's interesting is it's not pain.
No, it's not pain at all. The example is, my eyes are watering because of dust.
Watering.
Yeah.
That's a key distinction. I feel like a lot of learners might struggle with that one. They might not know that specific word.
They do. Many learners might say something like, my eyes are crying, which is emotional. Crying implies sadness or grief. Or they might say, my eyes have water. But watering implies a physiological reaction to an irritant. It gives the doctor both the cause dust and the effect watering. It helps rule out infection or injury almost immediately. If you walk in and say, my eyes are crying, the doctor might think you need a psychologist. If you say, my eyes are watering, they're looking for allergies or foreign bodies.
That is such a subtle but incredibly important difference. Okay, then we have the ears. Air. I found the example here really interesting because it described a sensation that I think is notoriously hard to explain if you don't know the exact word. The sentence is, my right ear is blocked.
Blocked. It's such a tactile word. It implies an obstruction, a pressure. Maybe it's a sinus infection, maybe it's wax buildup, or just that popping feeling you get on an airplane or driving up a mountain near Solon.
Right, it's not necessarily painful, is it? It's just wrong. Something feels off.
Exactly. And that is crucial. An earache, using that suffix ache, that means pain, sharp or dull pain. A blocked ear is a loss of function or a feeling of pressure. If you tell a doctor it hurts, they'll look for infection, redness, inflammation. If you say it's blocked, they might look for wax or check your sinuses. That one word changes the entire exam protocol.
Moving down the face, we get to the nose. Nose. And of course, the classic symptom, runny nose.
The universal sign of the common cold. Can't escape it.
It's a funny phrase if you stop and think about it literally, isn't it? A nose that runs. Is it jogging?
English is just full of these odd biomechanical metaphors. But runny nose is the standard collocation. You can't say flowing nose or leaking nose, even though logically they kind of mean the same thing. If you say, my nose is leaking, people will probably look at you strangely. You have to know the set phrase. It signals rhinorrhea to a doctor immediately.
Now we get to the mouth and throat. And the source makes a real point here about pronunciation, that voth sound in throat, it.
The dental fricative. It is the stumbling block for so many learners. You have to get your tongue between your teeth and blow air out. It feels unnatural if your native language doesn't have it, but you have to get it right here because a sore throat is often the first red flag for a viral infection.
And look at the adjective there, sore. The source example is, my throat is sore. Why sore and not pain? Can I say my throat pain?
You can, and you will likely be understood, but sore is the specific medical descriptor. Sore implies inflammation. It implies that raw, scratchy feeling you get when you swallow. It's distinct from a sharp pain. Sore throat is the medical category. It even matches what's on the medicine box. You go to the pharmacy looking for sore throat lozenges, not hurting throat candy. Using sore helps you navigate the pharmacy aisle as well as the doctor's office.
That's a great point. You're matching your vocabulary to the solution that's on the shelf. Contrast that with the mouth example. My mouth feels dry.
Dehydration.
Yar.
Or anxiety. Again, it's about matching the body part to the correct sensation. You don't usually have a sore mouth in the same way you have a sore throat. Dry mouth is a specific condition, often a side effect of medication, or just a sign you need more fluids.
And before we leave the head, we have to talk about the teeth. Or the tooth. The source material implies there's a grammatical trap here.
The irregular plural. It's a classic. One tooth tusis, multiple teeth tusa. It's one of those ancient English irregularities that just survives. But the symptom example is singular. I have a toothache.
Toothache. That suffix ache is doing a lot of heavy lifting there, isn't it?
It is. We use it for headache, stomachache, backache, toothache. It usually implies a dull, continuous pain rather than a sharp, sudden one. And usually when we have dental pain, it stems from one specific location, hence toothache being singular. You rarely have all your teeth hurting at once unless, you've been in an accident.
Okay, so let's move down. Section 2 of our deep dive covers the body in pain, the upper and lower anatomy. This is where we get into the biomechanics of things.
And what I really like about the source material here is that it links the body parts to the activities that cause the pain. It provides a narrative for the injury, which is exactly what a doctor asks for. Doctors are detectives. They need the backstory. They need to know what happened.
Take the neck, for instance. Neck. The example is, my neck is stiff from sleeping wrong.
I laughed when I read that because it is the universal condition of adulthood. You wake up, you turn your head, and bam, instant pain. But look at the word stiff.
It's not pain exactly, it's different.
No, it's a lack of mobility. Stiff means I can't turn my head properly. If you go to a physiotherapist and say, I have pain, they'll treat it one way, maybe painkillers or anti-inflammatories. If you say, my neck is stiff, they'll likely treat it with heat, stretching, or massage. The vocabulary dictates the treatment. Stiff tells them it's a muscle issue, probably a spasm.
Then there is the shoulder, subuldiger. The example given is, hurts after carrying heavy bags.
Simple cause and effect. This is so helpful for a doctor to rule out chronic conditions.
Yeah.
If you can link the pain to a specific action carrying bags, lifting a box, the doctor knows it's probably muscular, not skeletal or neurological. It just saves so much time.
And the back, pain from sitting too long.
Modern ailment, the office chair syndrome. Again, context. It tells the doctor this is likely posture related, not, say, a kidney infection.
Okay, now, here is where it gets really interesting for me. The arm and the hand. The source switches away from the word pain entirely here.
Yes. For the arm and the example is, my arm feels numb.
Numb. That's a scary word.
It is. Numbness is a neurological signal. It's a lack of feeling or that pins and needles sensation. That is a much more alarming symptom than simple soreness. If you tell a doctor your arm hurts, they might give you a painkiller. If you tell them your arm is numb, they might check your heart or your spine immediately. Numbness implies nerve involvement. It escalates the urgency.
And for the hand, what's the example there?
My hands are cold, which is
Right.
about circulation. The source is teaching the learner to observe the quality of the sensation, not just the presence of discomfort. Cold hands could be anemia, it could be poor circulation, or it could just be the weather outside. But describing the temperature is a key diagnostic detail.
Moving to the torso, the chest. The descriptor here is very specific. Tightness, as in, I feel tightness in my chest.
And that is a critical phrase. Tightness can indicate anxiety, sure, but it can also indicate very serious cardiac issues or asthma. It's a heavy word. It implies constriction. A heavy chest or a tight chest triggers immediate attention in a triage unit. If you say, my chest hurts, they will ask, what kind of pain? If you start with, it feels tight, you are answering the follow-up question before they even ask it.
And the stomach? Or tummy or belly? The source lists all three.
Stomach est is the clinical term. This is what you should use with a doctor. Tummy or belly are what you might use with a child or a very close family member. You probably wouldn't walk into a professional clinic and say, doctor, my tummy hurts, unless you want to sound very young. It's important to know the register of the words you're using.
That makes sense, but the key phrase provided in the source is, my stomach is upset.
Upset. It's such a polite, delicate way to talk about, well, digestive chaos.
It really is. It's very sanitized.
It's a catch-all term. It covers nausea, diarrhea, indigestion, cramps. It's a safe, polite way to signal digestive distress without getting too graphic in the waiting room. You say, my stomach is upset, and the doctor knows exactly which questions to ask next. They'll ask for the details, but upset is the perfect headline.
Okay, let's finish the anatomy scan with the lower body, legs and knees.
The leg lay example is paining after walking a lot, simple fatigue. The knees example is functional. Hurts when I bend it.
That specific detail, when I bend it, that is just gold for a doctor.
It is. It localizes the injury to the joint mechanics. It tells them it's not a bone break, it's a hinge problem, it's likely a ligament or a tendon. Again, you are helping the doctor help you.
And finally, the feet, or foot, another one of those irregular plurals.
Foot mendefo to feet fest. And the symptom given is swollen. My feet are swollen. This signals edema, fluid retention. It's a visual symptom, not just a feeling. You can literally see it.
So if we look at this whole list, this whole anatomy lesson, what's the big pattern that stands out to you?
What stands out is that the source material isn't just teaching nouns, it's teaching diagnostic pairings. Stiff neck, swollen feet, tight chest, upset stomach, numb arm. If the learner can memorize these as pairs, they will sound significantly more fluent and, more importantly, more accurate. They aren't just saying, ouch, my arm. They are saying, my arm is numb, which triggers a completely different medical response. It's all about collocation words that naturally live together.
That is a great insight. It's about learning the phrases, not just the words. Okay, so we have the nouns and we have the adjectives, but we need to glue them together. We need to build the actual sentence. This brings us to section 3, the grammar of illness.
And this is where the rubber meets the road. You can have all the vocabulary in the world, but if you can't string it together in a coherent way, you're still stuck. And grammar in health is surprisingly tricky because it deals with ownership and feeling.
The source outlines 3 main structures. The first one is the most direct, the ownership of pain. My noun hurts.
This is the most direct structure you can use. Subject verb. My head hurts. My stomach hurts. It's active. The body part is doing the hurting. It's simple, it's punchy, and it is impossible to misunderstand. It identifies the culprit immediately.
You can also vary it a bit, right? Like my body part is adjective.
Correct. My neck is stiff. My feet are swollen. It's essentially the same structure. You are describing the state of the body part. This is where those pairings we just talked about come into play so perfectly.
Then there is the I have structure. This seems to be for conditions or specific nouns that you sort of possess.
Yes. In English, we treat illnesses almost like objects we possess. I have a fever. And a pronunciation note there. It's ACE versus VR. I have a cold. I have the flu.
Or I have a cough.
Specifically, I have a dry cough. That's the source notes, which is an important distinction. But here's an interesting alternative the source provides. I have pain in my body part.
Oh, so instead of saying my back hurts, you could say I have pain in my back.
It's slightly more formal and maybe a bit more detached, but it means the same thing. It gives the learner an alternative if they forget the verb hurts. If you can't remember hurts, you probably remember the noun pain. So, I have pain in my back is a great safety net phrase to have in your back pocket.
Now here is the big one, the I feel structure. I feel like this is where learners so often trip up.
It is the most common pitfall. The structure is I feel plus an adjective describing an internal state. I feel sick. I feel tired.
Why is this so hard? Why do learners struggle with this one in particular?
It's because of L1 interference. Their first language interferes with their English. In many other languages like French or Spanish or even Hindi, the structure is often I have. You might say something that translates to I have hunger or I have dizziness. So they try to translate that directly to English and say I have a dizzy or I have a tired.
Which just sounds very wrong in English.
It sounds broken. It sounds like you were holding a dizzy in your hand as an object. In English, you must use I feel, or the verb to be, like I am. But I feel conveys the subjective experience so much better. I feel puts you inside the experience.
Let's look at the specific states the source lists. We have tired.
I feel very tired all the time. That little phrase all the time is so important. It suggests chronic fatigue. It's not just, I didn't sleep well last night. It's a condition.
Then dizzy.
I feel dizzy when I stand up.
Yeah.
That's a classic symptom of low blood pressure or dehydration. If you say, I have dizzy, the doctor has to do a little mental translation. If you say, I feel dizzy, it's instant communication.
And nauseous.
I feel nauseous after eating.
Yeah.
Nauseous means you feel like you're going to vomit. It's a very specific, awful feeling. The word itself almost sounds like the feeling.
And finally, weak.
General malaise. I feel weak. This distinction, using I feel for these internal states, it is absolutely vital for clarity. If you walk into a clinic and say, I have a dizzy, the doctor will probably understand you, but it slows down the communication. It forces the doctor to translate your broken grammar. If you say, I feel dizzy, it's crisp, it's fluent, it commands a certain level of respect.
It changes the whole dynamic from struggling foreigner to competent patient.
Exactly. And that confidence helps you get better treatment faster.
So we've got the parts, the pains, and the sentence structures. Now, let's actually go to the clinic. Section 4 is the clinical encounter.
This is the role play. This is the big test. The source sets the scene. The doctor asks, what's the problem?
And the patient, our learner, needs a script. The source provides a mini dialogue. It opens with, hello, doctor, I'm not feeling well.
A simple opening. You establish the state, I'm not feeling well. It signals that this isn't a routine checkup, something is actively wrong. Then, the learner combines symptoms. high fever and my head hurts a lot.
Connecting the dots. That word "and" is so powerful here. It links the symptoms together into a syndrome. Then comes the question I think every doctor in the history of medicine has asked. Since when?
The timeline. This is absolute critical. The diagnosis so often depends on the duration of the symptoms. If your head hurts for an hour, it's a headache. If it hurts for a week, it could be something much more serious. The source gives a few ways to answer this. The patient in the dialogue says, since yesterday night.
But there are other options provided too. It started 2 days ago, or I have been feeling like this for 3 days.
That I have been feeling like this structure is actually quite advanced grammar. It's the present perfect continuous, but as a set phrase, it's incredibly useful. It emphasizes the duration of the suffering. It tells the doctor, this isn't new, this is ongoing, I've been suffering for this long. It adds weight and urgency to your complaint.
Then there are the specific requests. You aren't just there to complain, you want a solution. Can you give me some medicine? Or I need a prescription.
And can you check my blood pressure? These are functional requests. They show agency. You are asking for the tools you need to get better. You aren't just a passive recipient of care. You are helping to guide the interaction. I need a prescription is a very empowering sentence to be able to speak in a second language.
And we can't forget manners, even when you're feeling awful.
Especially in many English-speaking cultures, politeness markers remain even in a crisis. Doctor, I have a problem. Thank you, doctor. When should I come back? It just smooths the interaction. It builds a rapport with the medical professional. If you are rude because you are in pain, you might still get treated, but the human connection, which is part of healing, is lost. Doctors are people too. They respond to politeness.
So that's the high-stakes environment of the clinic. But what about the lower stakes, but still socially awkward situations? Section 5 covers social scenarios, like, calling in sick.
This is everyday survival. You have a family function or work or a meetup with friends, and you physically cannot go. You have to explain why without sounding like you're just making excuses or being lazy.
The source gives us a great example here. Mini dialogue too, the mom call.
I love this one. The setup is you're canceling on a family function. The explanation provided is, I have a bad cold and my body is aching. I feel very weak.
Note that combination again. It's a specific illness, a bad cold, a physical sensation, my body is aching, and an internal state, I feel very weak. It's a complete picture of misery.
It makes it impossible for the other person to argue. You can't say, oh, just come anyway. If someone tells you they feel weak and their body is aching, it shuts down the negotiation. If you just said, I have a cold, they might say, oh, take a pill and come on. But adding, I feel very weak, that pretty much ends the conversation.
And the response in the dialogue is so nurturing. Take rest. Drink hot water. I'll send soup.
That phrase, take rest, is very interesting. It is very common in Indian English variants, which fits the context of badi and solon that was mentioned at the beginning. In American or British English, we might be more likely to say, get some rest. But take rest is a direct, beautiful translation of caring. It shows that the language has done its job. It has solicited care and empathy from the listener.
That's a great point. The goal of this language isn't just information transfer. It's about soliciting care.
Precisely. It turns, I am alone in this, into help me. It connects you to your support system, whether that's a doctor or your mom.
Okay, we've covered all the theory. Now, how do we make it stick? Section 6 is the practice challenge.
The source suggests a simulation, a bit of role-playing. It asks the learner to imagine they are at the doctor right now, not later, not while they're reading a book, right now.
And the formula is to speak 6 to 8 sentences describing your symptoms.
And the logic is key here. You can't just throw random words out. You can't just shout, leg, head, ouch. The example logic provided is, I have a fever, my head hurts badly, my throat is sore, it started 2 days ago. It tells a story. Symptom A, symptom B, symptom C, and then the timeline. It forces your brain to organize the information just like a doctor would.
Then there is the golden cheat sheet. This is the big takeaway list provided by Isha in the source.
It boils everything down to the 3 key verbs. If you remember nothing else from this deep dive, just remember these 3 verbs. Hurts, have, feel. My head hurts, I have a fever, I feel dizzy. If you can master those 3 verbs, you can slot almost any body part or adjective in and be understood. It's the skeleton key. You can build infinite sentences with just these 3 verbs.
It's a fantastic mental hook. Hurts, have, feel. And finally, the homework, because you can't really learn without doing.
And the day 16 tasks are very, very practical. First, write 10 sentences. Repetition builds muscle memory. Write them down, see the spelling, get it into your head. Second, the audio challenge. Record yourself for 90 to 120 seconds.
Why is recording yourself so important? I know so many people, myself included, who hate the sound of their own voice.
Everyone does. But hearing your own voice saying, "I feel sick," helps you get over the embarrassment of saying it when you actually are sick. It breaks the silence barrier. I mean, it's the first time you ever say the words, "I have diarrhea," is to a stranger in a white coat, you might just freeze. It's an embarrassing thing to say. But if you've already said it into your phone 10 times, it's just words. It desensitizes you to the vulnerability of the situation.
That makes so much sense.
Ah,
Okay, third is the Q&A practice. Prompt yourself, what's wrong, and then answer it out loud. And fourth, social sharing. Write a comment about how you feel today. It normalizes talking about your state, even if the comment is just, I feel great.
it's about making the vocabulary the body part of your daily life, not just for emergencies. If you can say, "I feel great," you can also say, "I feel terrible." The structure is the same.
So what does this all mean for us? We've unpacked the head, the body, the grammar, the doctor, and the mom. What's the final takeaway?
I think it comes back to what Jay said in the beginning. This is about building confidence for the uncomfortable. When we are healthy, language is a game. We play with words, we joke, we listen to deep dives like this. When we are sick, language is a lifeline. It is a tool for survival.
It gives you agency. It's the difference between being a passive patient and being an active participant in your own healing, because you can actually describe what is happening to you.
And that reduces fear. The fear of being sick in a foreign place is largely the fear of not being understood. By mastering these phrases, "my chest is tight," "I feel nauseous," "it started yesterday," you remove that entire layer of fear. You can then focus on what really matters.
Yeah.
Getting better.
And looking ahead, the journey continues. Day 17 is teasing something a lot more fun, a lot lighter.
Yes, a complete pivot. Clothes and accessories. We go from "my stomach hurts" to "does this shirt fit me?"
Sizes, fabrics, bargaining. It's too tight. It's too loose.
Which, funnily enough, uses some of the same grammar. "It feels tight" versus "I feel tight in my chest." But that is a lesson for tomorrow.
For today, we stay with the body. We stay with self-care.
And we remember that these are, as the source says, some of the most caring and useful words in the English language.
So to everyone listening, whether you are feeling great or fighting off a sniffle, we really hope this deep dive gives you the voice you need.
Keep practicing. Speaking up when you're down is the ultimate fluency test.
Let's take care of this together. We'll see you in the next deep dive.